souls, it's me Isabelle again. Today I thought I'd talk about how I found my way to spirituality and how I got on my own personal journey, why I was asking these questions in the first place, questions like where do we come from and where are we going and what is the meaning of life and what is the meaning of all of this, why does anything exist at all. So these were my questions since I can think of, but what really brought the urge to find out the answers to these questions was that I'm in my mid-20s and I've already died 3 times in my life. So I flatlined twice and I underwent surgery, heart surgery, where you are clinically dead for the time of that surgery. So I was just thinking about this recently and thought, wow, who would choose that to experience as a soul, to come to life and with not even 30 already having these experiences 3 times. So today I'm just gonna talk about them and tell you about my experiences. And if you hear tapping a little dog, that's Sammy. He's with me also, so he's wondering what I'm doing alone with the camera. So that's him. I was born with a congenital heart defect. What that means is due to this anomaly, my heart is built differently than a normal heart. It doesn't even look like a normal human heart. It is built differently, and that's why it's very hard to get surgery on. You have to find someone who can do that without the traditional techniques. So it is a pretty severe anomaly, so I'm doing much better than I should do, and I'm so grateful for that. It turned out really amazing in my case, and in everyday life I don't notice it that much, not anymore. So I'm very grateful for that. So when I was born, the doctors didn't notice that I had this heart defect from the beginning. They thought I was a completely healthy baby and they put me into the normal baby station. So I was laying there, they thought everything was fine, but my condition got worse very immediately and they had to transport me into another hospital to be medically treated there. So I was brought there with the ambulance in my little baby bed and all that stuff. And I'll come back to this scenery later, because that was when I first flatlined and I couldn't remember at first because I was a baby, but I remembered after another incident later in life. So I'm just gonna jump between these things to make you get a grasp on what happened. So as a little baby I flatlined, they had to reanimate me. Spoiler alert, it worked. So I was medically treated with medicine and stuff, but I didn't have surgery until I was 19. So in between I had little surgeries, not really like you had not to cut me open or anything like that. It was just through the veins with a catheter. So nothing really big, but it had to be done when I was 9 years old, I think, and once when I was 10 years old. So I had this medical surgery 2 times as a child, and I think it was the first time, but I don't even know if I was 9 or 10. But the first time I had this medical surgery done, I flatlined again while they did this on me. And my heart stopped beating and I was gone for a few seconds. I don't know how long exactly, but I was gone. And when I woke up from that surgery, I had strange memories. And I wouldn't tell my mom until 1 or 2 years later, because I was not very conscious about these memories. I just had them, but I thought, maybe I was dreaming, or maybe it was just from the medicine. But it stuck with me, and I thought at some point, what was that? And I've never heard of a near-death experience before, so I wasn't aware of this, that this could happen to someone. So a few years after, when I was 11 or 12, I told my mom about what I remember from that surgery. And then she told me, well, back then the doctor said they had to bring you back. She didn't tell me until then because she didn't want me to be afraid. I was still so young. So she didn't tell me that, but it was very intense. And she was told I had flatlined and they had to reanimate me again, like before when I was a baby. So I told her, and she said to me, well, I have an explanation for that. And she wasn't even much aware of spiritual concepts back then. I mean, she's always been interested in stuff, but it wasn't to a degree where her third instinct would be, well, you had a near-death experience. That wasn't it. So she was just bringing up that possibility. And then I thought, well, that could be. But since I was so young, I didn't really research on that. And I just accepted it, I guess, and moved on. And when I was 19 years old, I had to undergo a major heart surgery, a really open heart surgery with all that. You have to be on a machine that gets your blood out of the system, and your how do you say that? Your body is falling in temperature, so they put ice inside of you and around you so that your heart can be stopped, and you're clinically dead for that time of the surgery. So it was a very intense time, and I had to research a lot about it. I'm a person, I have to know what people do to me. If I go on the surgery, I want to know what they're doing. I want to see a video of the surgery. It's that intense, I really know. People cope differently with things like that. I'm coping with it by knowing every detail. I'm like, I need to research. So I did that, and I was in a good mental state when I entered that surgery. I was at a point where I was like, well, this is gonna work out. I was very positive. But if for some reason it doesn't work out and I'm gonna die, it will be fine. I made an agreement with my own soul to either go or come back healthy. I didn't want to be in coma. I didn't want to be just laying there and be physically there but not mentally, you know what I mean? That's what I didn't want, and I made an agreement with my soul to either go or come back healthy. So luckily I came back healthy, and from that particular time where I was gone because my heart wasn't beating, I wasn't alive technically, I don't remember much. This is something I still want to do regression on, like in meditation and maybe with some regressionist, because I really want to know. And I also plan on getting a psychic reading for this. I can read for myself, but with some topics where you're very emotionally invested, it's hard to read for oneself. So I have some lovely friends who are very good at what they do, and I'm thinking about getting a reading and just let them look into the situation and tune into my energy to find out more. Because after that surgery, my spiritual journey went up in rocket speed. So it was like the veil had been lifted and cosmic information was flowing into my life like crazy. I can't even tell you how much that had changed since then. I was 19 when I had that surgery done, and I am in my mid-20s now, so it's only been a few years and I'm a completely different person, but in a good way, in a very good way. And in the end, I'm so thankful for this surgery because it opened up worlds for me. And not because I remember something or I had this near-death experience consciously, but because for some reason I came back with more information from that. And also, when I had the surgery done and I was on my way to getting better, I started to remember stuff from my near-death experience that I had when I was 9 years old as a child. The one I told you before, where I had this little surgery, that not very major one. So I remembered stuff from this situation. And it completely blew my mind that it took so many years for me to figure that out. But it was in divine timing. I had gained a lot of knowledge until then, and I could only understand what happened to me because I knew stuff. Back when I was a child, I knew something was not normal and something happened, but I couldn't grasp it and I couldn't explain what happened, and I couldn't explain to myself. So I remembered seeing myself laying on the operation table. So I could remember that I left. I now know what it is called. It's the astral body that's leaving the physical body. So I can remember my astral body hovering above my human physical body. And I could remember that I did this movement. I got up with my torso first and looked around, and I saw the operation table and I saw my body behind me. So it was my astral body. And then I went completely out of my body into the right corner of the room, and I saw myself from above laying on this little table, this little child, 9 years old, and I knew it was me. But my perspective was like a 360 degree. I still had some kind of body. I was aware of me as a entity, but I didn't have I didn't see it. It was not shiny or see-through. I just felt one with all that's around me, and I could I had this 360 degree, but this is just how I can describe it now with my human brain. It was not really a 360 degree. It was like I was all around me, and all around me could see. Like I became one with what was around me. And there was this deep, deep serenity within me. And I knew that this was not a very nice situation where I was laying on the operation table and I was having trouble. The doctors had trouble to bring me back. But there was this serenity within me, and I just knew it was okay. And that I could choose if I go back into my body or if I if I stay here and just go somewhere else. I feel like I was in a middle dimension of things, because people who have a near-death experience, they tell about the white light, and they meet relatives, and so I think I wasn't that far gone yet. So it was just a sneak peek into another dimension, and I then decided, no, that's not the time, I'm going back. So it was just a middle thing. I didn't see a tunnel, I didn't meet anyone, but I have to say I didn't feel alone. It was a all-filling presence around me, so I didn't feel alone, I didn't feel lost, I didn't feel sad. It was just serenity and peace, and I could feel the big picture of things, and could feel that everything happens for a reason. Everything is exactly the way it is supposed to be. There is no evil, there is no good, there is no right, there is no wrong. There is just perspectives and just different experiences, and everything is valid. Everything is valid, and everything is part of one big game or one big thing. And we're all experiencing just a fractal of ourselves. There goes so much beyond our human physical body, and I could feel all of that. So it was a very intense situation, but I could, years after, feel the value of that experience, and I'm so thankful for it, because I truly believe that this helped me to find my way into spirituality and to really connect with my higher self and with my inside, and just gave me the drive to know about the big picture and about our galactic origins and everything that I've researched so far and that I've experienced and found in myself. So it was like a trigger for me to research, to find out, to investigate, to connect. And I'm so thankful for this whole experience of this heart disease, because I don't believe in coincidences and I don't believe in fate that just happens to you. I believe that the soul is picking its lessons, its circumstances. So a soul decides where it wants to be born, who it wants to be its parents, and it just decides its circumstances. And I decided to be born with this heart defect and to have major situations happen to me because of that. And if I wouldn't have that heart disease, my spiritual journey wouldn't be the same, and it wouldn't be what I've chosen for this life. And I think spirituality is a very important thing in my life, and I'm just starting to get it out there. So I've gained so much knowledge and truth for myself, and I know everybody's truth is unique. What is my truth doesn't have to be your truth, but my perspective is had become very wide and bigger. I just had my mind opened, and I want to share that, and I have the urge to share that. And this is all through these experiences. I believe that it wouldn't be like that if I hadn't these experiences. And of course there are other things that influenced me, and I've always been interested in stuff like that. But it was really the pathway for my spiritual journey and for the desire to share that knowledge with you. So I'm very thankful for it. And it's also amazing how you can... I just knew I didn't have to die. I could choose. And it changed my perception on life and death. Because if someone dies, you think it happens. It just happens. But I don't even believe that anymore. Even an accident on some level, and that may sound rude to some of you who have lost people in accidents. I'm really sorry for you if that does offend you. I don't mean it offensive, but I truly believe that even if you die through an accident, on some soul level, you've decided to experience that way of exiting this dimension. So I don't believe that death is the end. I know it is not the end. I've experienced it for myself, and I'm still here, and I could come back, and it worked 3 times. So there were exit points, but I didn't take them. And I decided to come back and to experience more of this. So I truly believe that a soul has a choice, and death doesn't just happen. It is a choice you make, and maybe even before you incarnate into your physical body, you decide where are your exit points and where are your possibilities to leave again. So to close the circle, I'm coming back to the first time I flatlined as a baby. After I remembered I remembered stuff from the second time I flatlined with 9 or 10 years old. I also remembered pretty much the same thing from when I was a baby. So it was basically the same scenario. I could see myself laying there from the right corner above, and I could even describe stuff that was in the ambulance that I couldn't see in a physical way because it was below my bed or something. So I had my own personal evidence for this to be real, and I just it just blew my mind that this happened 3 times. And that it took me so long to figure that out. But it makes sense. Like, if you come to this earth and you are a baby, I think you are more familiar with the other side. So basically where you're going when you die, that's where you're also coming from. So it was pretty much natural for me to be still connected with my astral body and to be aware of it. I mean, you're always connected to that, and you always have it, and you always are a spiritual, multidimensional being. But as a child, you don't question these things. You're not told already that this is just hocus pocus or just crazy. So children are very connected still with their spirit and with their intergalactical guides and all that. So as a baby, I think this is something that's not very shocking to the child if that happens. So, and I don't even know if as a baby you can really make sense of a situation like that. I think as a baby you're more intuitive than mind-based. So it took me years to remember anything, but I did, and I have my own evidence, and I know that when I post this video there will be a few people, I guess so, I don't know, maybe not, but I think there will be some people also maybe in my private surroundings who will say, well, you're just crazy, it was like from the medical stuff or from dreaming, or just, yeah, you're delusional basically. But I think that's not cool to say that to, if you didn't experience it for yourself. Like, I would like to give that advice for everyone who is like totally resistant to the concept of eternal life or of consciousness that can exist without a body, to investigate and try to connect to themselves and to question if there really are just their jobs, their names, their hobbies. The first thing that comes up when you ask something who they are, they say their name and their job, and I'm like, that wouldn't even be what I would come up with. Like, this is so not important. So yeah, that's just a little message to end this. Investigate, connect with yourself, find your higher meaning, find your higher self, and find out that you are more than just this person who is working, eating, paying bills and dying. So I hope this was interesting for you. I'm a little bit nervous about your reactions and about the comments that will come with this, but I'm also super thrilled to have this story out and to start doing more of these videos and to start sharing what I know and what I've experienced. And this is just the beginning, I promise. There's so much more to tell, and I'd be happy if you want me to tell it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification so you see it whenever I post a new video. And have a beautiful, beautiful day. I wish you all the best and cosmic kisses.